Hello, this is Ms. Schrader. Today we are going to look at Surrealism, which is a form of art and culture that developed in Europe in the aftermath of World War I. It specifically is declared to be from the 1920s to the 1950s. My students, you're going to need a piece of paper and something to write with. You're going to take notes, and when you're done, you're going to be giving me 10 sentences about what you found interesting, educational, and important about surrealism. So, the concept is that artists were trying to allow the unconscious mind to express itself, often resulting in the depiction of illogical or dreamlike states or scenes, such as the one you're looking at right here. This one is by the very famous artist Salvador Dali, and we're going to talk more about him later on. But this piece is called The Persistence of Memory, done by Salvador Dali in 1931. It's oil on canvas. And once again, it's looking very weird. You've got melting clocks all over the scene. In the background, you've got a standard look at um, an outdoor landscape piece. So very unusual. This is referred to as its well-known piece showing the soft melting of a pocket watch. And it emphasizes the difference between softness and hardness. This piece is called Egg in the Church or the Snake. It's from 1932. It's by Andre Breton, and it is a photographic collage. So it's showing a variety of different things, but he has taken pictures from magazines and newspapers to show it. And once again, the idea is to be kind of radical and weird, and definitely not going with what a traditional camera could do for you. This piece is quite famous. This is Rene Magritte's piece called Golconda. It's from 1953, but it's talking about the way that British society is really just very bland and boring. All these men are dressed the same. They look like men who would be going off to work every morning, getting on the buses and the trains and things like that. But they're floating around in their neighborhoods, and there's an almost Mary Poppins feel to it. So it's definitely kind of weird and strange. This is another Magritte piece. It's called The Treachery of Images. It's from 1928. And the French wording at the bottom says, "This is not a pipe." And so obviously it is a pipe. And the point is to compare language and meaning, especially in the post World War I era. Words do not mean what they represent, and surrealist artists enjoyed exploring the destruction of language. And so we're going with, okay, if it's not a pipe, what is it? It looks like a pipe. This is a self portrait by Leonora Carrington, done in 1937 to 38. She's an American artist, and apparently a lot of these surrealist men were quite sexist and didn't really care to have women involved in their activities. And so a lot of the women were doing their own thing in surrealism, definitely kind of doing things separately. She is exploring her femininity by creating a nemesis between herself and a hyena, relating herself to the animal's rebellious nature. This piece is called Harlequin's Carnival. It's by Juan Miro, done in 1924. He says the painting was inspired by hallucinations he was having when he was in economic difficulties and couldn't find enough food to eat. And so he was going into dreams and trances, and he came up with this. Um, If you don't know what a harlequin is, a lot of this deals with Mardi Gras concepts, and you can see some of the Mardi Gras elements in the painting. Certainly, some of the things in the background are, but once again, very dreamlike, kind of wild, that sort of a thing. This piece is by Max Ernst. We've heard of him before. He was a Dadaist before becoming a surrealist. This painting is called Uber Imperator from 1923, and it represents oppressive power in an ironic and satirical manner. In an empty landscape, the imperator is depicted as an anthropomorphic top. So it's a top that spins, framed in red armor with human hands expressing surprise. And so the idea is that this top is in charge of everything, even though there isn't a whole lot there to be in charge of. This piece is by Kay Sage, another American woman surrealist painter. This is called I Saw Three Cities, and it's by 1940, it's in 1944. And it says that a lot of her work is nihilistic. In other words, she's kind of seeing the world coming to an end. She uses a lot of fluidity of drapery, like this column that has the draping fabric floating away from it, and then also harsh geometric shapes that make it look extremely modern. This piece is by Ives Tengai. It's called Indefinite Divisibility. It's from 1942. Um, He is well known for depicting mundane objects gathering together to form something else. In this case, to form the artist's easel. He would say that allows the painting to develop before his eyes, unfolding its surprises as it progresses. And he was married to Kay Sage, one of the artists we already saw. So yeah, a lot of this very kind of wild, surrealistic stuff. This painting is by an artist named Dorothea Tanning, who actually only passed away in 2012. So she was around for a very long time, but she didn't really start getting recognition as a surrealistic painter until later on. This is her most famous painting, Ein klein Nachtmusik from 1943. And she uses a lot of things that are inspired by childhood fears and nightmares. She uses a lot of supernatural elements, such as the oversized sunflower that seems animated and the life size dolls that create an eerie atmosphere in the dark hotel corridor. So I've been giving you some examples of famous surrealistic artwork. My students, you are giving me 10 sentences about what you found interesting, educational, and enjoyable.